Live from San Antonio, Mike Taylor.
Yeah. Cowboys have won. Look at that. Kicking ass today. How you boys doing? Like them Cowboys here. Tell Lawrence I wouldn't look at you here. You got one. Put the lights on too. If you can fix that. If you can get that managed. God. There you go. Don't forget. At Lawrence's, you're not the director of programming. You're still my lemming over here. So put that hat on. Look, oh, you look good. I like it. Let's see the big Poomer saw. Oh, hell yeah. Look at that. Let me lower my chair.
It's actually not a terrible look. I
Pretty
might wear
cool.
this
I ain't
to
gonna lie,
bottom
yeah.
or something.
Oh, you'd happen in there.
No question. Just be swatting them like flies.
Oh, my God. You'd have to go out in the alley and get away from them. How you boys doing? It's Cowboys Overreact, brought to you in part by Pickleball Giant from the Pickleball Giant Studios. The Cowboys have kicked ass today, 24-6. I say kicked ass only because, the defense dominated to the point where you can kick somebody's ass 21-14 in the NFL. That's possible. Maybe the score's not a blowout, but you can beat somebody up pretty good. And the Cowboys beat Detroit up defensively. 4 turnovers the Cowboys force/take advantage of by Detroit in the fourth quarter. I don't know when the last time Dallas had 5 turnovers in the second half was. Can't be any time recent. So the Cowboys get a bunch of turnovers, dominate on defense. Dak Prescott was very rusty, very inaccurate, and for most of the game was, frankly, just a guy out there driving a bus and keeping the thing on the freeway and in the center lane, letting the defense and the running game dictate this game. And I don't know. I hate to take away from the defense, man, but I guess Dak's the elephant in the room. We have to lead with him. He's going to be better than this. He's been out over a month. Clearly, he was rusty. He's got that damn thing on his hand still. I don't know if that has anything to do with his grip or not, but I think you agree for most of the game he was just kind of out there. He was fine. And, not awesome. Just fine.
There were moments, good Lord. There were moments where he would make a throw and I'd say, okay, that's something Crush couldn't do over the last 5 games. And then there were multiple times.
Wait a minute. You got your lights on?
There were
okay, you do. Okay, never mind. My bad. Go ahead.
There were multiple times where I said, okay, we just saw Cooper Rush make that play on a bootleg rollout, on a perfectly designed and well-timed, well-called play. And that's where the rust of Dak absolutely was evident. But you talk about, it was an ass kicking because of the defense, but they scored 14 points in less than a minute within the last 5 minutes of the game. So, it was a 10-6 game as it probably deserved to end. It's like a soccer team scoring 2 goals in extra time, and all of a sudden it's a 4-1 win and not a 2-1 win. That should have been a 2-1 win.
Yeah.
But they got a couple cheap ones late, and it makes the score look way more inflated than it should.
Jamal Williams is the backup running back for the Lions, and he's only playing because their dude Swift is not in.
Yeah, he's the one, if you'll remember from Hard Knocks, he gave us the beauty of, if you're going to piss like a puppy, get off the porch and let the big dogs eat.
Yeah, that's a dude that McCarthy loved in Green Bay.
I can see why.
And he's a stud.
Because of that, reasons like that.
He never fumbles, never. Detroit's getting ready to take the damn lead in the fourth quarter today. And that guy fumbles at the 1. And Detroit got a shitty spot, by the way. And then, so you go from, we're at the 1. We're going to take the lead here in the fourth quarter. And a guy who never fumbles does. And then all hell breaks loose for poor Dan Campbell.
What they say, first out of 600 and something carries, first fumble lost.
He's the most sure-handed running back in the league.
Since you're mentioning it now, we might as well talk. That's the play of the game. Micah chasing, Micah over pursuing into the backfield, realizing the play was going right behind him, rushing 13 yards downfield to make a touchdown saving tackle, even though no question it was a bad spot. But still, I mean, he didn't. That wouldn't have been a touchdown. He wouldn't have scored. It would have just been closer to the goal line, and you still would have seen a 1st and goal. Because of Micah's effort that kept kept the Lions out of the end zone on that. And then turn around, you get the sure-handed Williams fumble it, you recover. And then the very next play is a 20-yard play, a little swing pass to Pollard that gets you out of the shadow of your own end zone. I mean, those 3 plays, the Micah chase down, the fumble, and then the Pollard get you out of trouble backed up to your own end zone. I mean, those were the 3 key plays of the game in succession. Boom, boom, boom.
All right. If you want to contribute, you certainly can. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. But you can only chat with us on the YouTube. So get on there and like us, share us, smash that like button. What was it? Punch that like button in the face. That's what I was supposed to say. And get a chat in here. You can participate in the super chat. You can go to buymeacoffee.com/Mike Taylor live and jump in here and get a take in. So, Cowboys win 24-6. I want to talk more about that Micah play because I don't want to start taking him for granted the way, we took for granted Tim Duncan all these years. It's like I don't ever want to not mention him. That play he made was insane. Maybe for years, and I really got a taste of this when I moved down here in 2007. It's like, the Spurs won, 101-98. Manu Ginobili had a triple-double, and Tony Parker had 20 points off the board, and they played good defense down the stretch and held so-and-so to some. Oh, yeah, and by the way, Tim Duncan had 30 and 20. You just took Tim for granted because he'd have 30 and 20 every night or 25 and 20. That play that Micah made where he's rushing Goff yet again, but the guy's open in the flat, the running back, or whoever it was, and he throws it over Micah's head. That dude's 9 yards from Micah. Micah just stops, turns around like a cyborg, and just engages the dude and pushes him out of bounds at the inch line, saving a touchdown. And then after that next play was when Williams fumbled, and the whole game fell apart for Detroit. But I didn't want to do this show. You look ridiculous, ridiculously badass.
I feel like I'm growing into it.
You like
I'm
it?
liking it
you should
more
wear
and
it all
more by
night.
the second.
Yeah, very cool. So we picked these up last night at a party. About that. So that being said, I don't want to forget the play that Micah made. It was incredible.
It's easy. I mean, again, so don't forget the play Micah made. That was the play of the game that completely shifted momentum.
Right.
But also, don't forget the play that Micah made as Tones Romes was literally talking about how does he not have an official sack in the stat book?
Almost
and then,
got him one.
Boom, all of a sudden it's a sack fumble
Yeah.
to completely end the game.
Crazy. All right, so I know a lot of y'all are going to want to talk about Dak, and that's just how it goes. I just wanted to make sure we got our Micah love in first. Look, man, I've said this forever. You don't ever apologize for winning in the NFL. Ever. Never apologize. I don't give a shit if you're playing the worst team in the league. I don't care if you're at home. I don't care where you are. I don't care if the final score is 3-2. This league's hard. And as Puma and I point out all the time, the difference between the third best team in the league and the 28th best team in the league is nothing. We've had more close games this year through the first 6 weeks of the season than in 25 years, maybe at least. Touchdowns are way down. This league is so close. I just want to reemphasize that as we get into our Dak criticism here because he wasn't great. He wasn't awesome. And dare I say, having said what I said about the league being close, 2/3 of the teams in the league, if they played the Cowboys today, probably would have beaten Dallas just because the offense was not ready to play because he was rusty. So thank God Detroit was the team that he made his comeback against. Boy, I would have hated to have seen what would have happened last week had Dak made his comeback against the Eagles on the road. It would have been ugly, like the first half was probably for Dak, and y'all would have been screaming that he sucks and put Cooper Rush back in. So all's right with the world. Dak is back. He was rusty. And now as we look ahead, man, I'll give Dak the 1 week mulligan to be just a guy, a jag. They need to beat the shit out of the Bears next week, and he needs to look good doing it. You agree? Even though it's just said, you don't apologize for winning, I need to see Dak look good. You know, he didn't look good in the San Francisco playoff game. He was dog shit in the opener against Tampa Bay, and he was just okay today, and he was bad in spots. It's been a minute since we saw Dak look amazing. It's time for that to happen next week.
Yeah, I think it's the pressure for that to happen next week is absolutely there, but the realistic perspective is it's still only week 2 of being back. It's still going to be rust. It's a team that you absolutely should beat on paper, but we sit here and say at the first part of that answer, you don't apologize for a 2-0 victory in this game that you won because the long snap went over the punter's head in the end zone. But but we're sitting here talking about a game where the Cowboys end up winning by 18, albeit because of the dominance of the defense more than the productivity of the offense. But I think if the Cowboys, next week, if the defense performs the same way and you see a game where they're only giving up 6 points, it's not like I need to see Dak go out there and light it up for 38, 42, 45. But all that saying, need to see more. But it's not like the Heat is absolutely from 0 to 100 ratcheted up to, okay, now I need to see you in playoff form next week against the Bears in only your second game back. I mean, I think it's going to be I think you're really going to see the jump post-bye. I mean, I think next week I would expect a performance closer to the one, 19 for 25, 207, an interception, a touchdown, should have had 2 interceptions minimum.
Yeah.
I would expect to see a performance closer in line to this than what we've seen at prime peak statistical output Dak. The other underlying narrative of Dak's career and the correlation between his direct statistical output versus the Cowboys win-loss. The Cowboys win more games when Dak doesn't put up big numbers. When Dak has his 300-yard passing game, their win percentage is lower than when he's in that 250 or 220 to 260 range. It's not like, I think we've all known for a long time the way this team wins is with the balanced rushing. I mean, today, Zeke 15 carries, Pollard 12, Pollard with a couple big catches out of the backfield. Seeing Zeke get the 2 touchdowns and Pollard again with an average, yards per carry over 6 yards. This time, closer to 7, 6.9. We've seen that's the formula for this Cowboys team to have its most successful run of consistency. It's not the Dak 350 yards game. So, I don't want to see him go out there and try to force that next week. I want to see a steady, show of progress and consistency with the offense. And I think you're going to get that more with the practice reps through the bye week and then coming back, facing Green Bay 3 weeks from now.
Right. Yeah. And so it's a stretch of 4 games in a row, all against the NFC North. And one of the weird parts about that is because they're playing a division that not a lot of people care to see other than Green Bay. We get stuck with these effing noon games, man.
Yeah, that's
Good
brutal.
Lord, that's all I can do to stay up.
How weird is it, though, to get not only a noon game, but a noon game between 2 NFC teams on CBS with Nance and Romo? That was weird. I don't think we don't get that again. I don't think the rest of the year.
That was CBS saying, hey, we need a Dallas bone.
No question. Yeah.
Can you throw us we need a Cowboys game? Because normally Jim and Tony's, they do the game of the week on CBS, and it's a 3:30 game.
Exactly. Yeah.
They got a noon game with 2 NFC teams. That was CBS telling the NFL, don't forget to give us some Dallas Cowboys love, because we haven't had any in a minute. All right, so next week's 3:25.
Nope, it's noon, as we just said.
See, God dang it. Yeah, okay, my bad. Son of a bitch.
All of that to say,
it's another effing noon game because the ding-dong Bears are coming to Jerry World. Well, just beat their ass. All right, we are in the Pickleball Giant Studios. There's a big article this month in Texas Monthly on the rise of pickleball and how all these celebrities and such have jumped on board with pickleball. They got all these leagues propping up. There's a Guy up in Austin named Kuhn, I think, Kuhn, billionaire. He built something called Dreamland outside Wimberley, and there's all these other rec activities you can do, but he also has all this pickleball. It's a rising sport. We're not goofing when we come on here and say it's probably the most rising sport in the country statistically, and it's getting serious. And we only have one store in all of San Antonio that is an exclusive pickleball gear studio store, and it's Pickleball Giant at 1604. I think it's the Bitters exit right there near Rogers Ranch. So 1604 near Bitters is Pickleball Giant, the only exclusive pickleball-only stuff store in town. So thank you to Pickleball Giant, the studio sponsor of this show. I should also say now that if you're in the market to help this show, we're always down. It's $50 a live spot. And we also have a bunch of different packages and stuff that we'll talk to you about, exclusive deals and stuff. You want to stick your name on my Chi-Chis? You want to put your name right here where 96 Now is? Go right ahead. Those are different ranges, but these live spots are only $50 a pop. So hit me up because we're running out of money. We may not make it to the end of the season, Puma. You may have to start taking a pay cut already. So that's it. We need money. That's all I want to say on that. So hit me up if you want to help this show, Holmes.
Well, I can tell you, me and Dak both might have to take a pay cut if we get more performances like that.
You bet your ass.
I tell you that right now.
I mean, God Almighty.
He just needs to remember we got that Cooper Rush crush still sitting on that.
And what are we paying
sideline.
him? About $800,000? That's chump change.
Hey,
That's
Jerry's already said it. He ain't afraid to have a little quarterback controversy. Dak just needs to remember that.
Bet your ass. All right. They finally you mentioned Romo and Nance. They finally mentioned Dan Campbell at the end of the game. Finally.
We got a Glenrose.
Got a Glenrose.
Suburb about 40 miles southwest of here.
Did he call it a suburb?
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Suburb.
It's not a suburb.
God almighty.
God, no.
It's a podunk-ass town. Way the hell outside of the city limits.
And they used to drive
that we
through
love.
It. They used to drive through it all the time because remember always on the Thanksgiving broadcast, they would talk about, we spent the afternoon yesterday in Stephenville, Texas.
With John Madden.
Well, they would go down. No, it was Nance because they would go down and get the Heart 8 barbecue. Out of
Nance would?
Uh-huh. Yeah,
okay.
They would take the whole CBS crew down there.
All right.
And so
cool.
to drive from Dallas to Stephenville, you're driving right through Glenrose. You know it's not a suburb.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
whatever.
Last play of the game, we finally got it in.
Dan's parents are here.
I thought we'd get some kind of packaged clip of Dan whipping ass at Glenrose and then A&M and then, Super Bowl with the Giants and then obviously in the career with the Cowboys. Hell, even I thought we might get a Saints mention where he went and played and then ended up coaching. But they gave no pre-production produced anything to the Dan Campbell story. Pretty surprising.
They'll be giving the Dan Campbell career eulogy maybe at the end of the season. Although I was reading up on this week, and
he's not going anywhere.
The gal that owns the team does admit frustration, but she absolutely supports Dan, and no one up there thinks he won't be back next year. He'd have to lose out the rest of the season. They'd have to quit on him. There'd have to be mutiny. I don't think they're going to. They play their ass off for him. They just don't have any talent. And they got Jared Goff. You talk about having a spare jag at quarterback.
Man,
that guy's not good.
That's another.
He played the Super Bowl.
Showing
that guy.
That's. I think that shows you how
this
good
damn
of a
league,
how good of a system, and how good of a coach Sean McVay is. I think that's what that says. I had that note too, though. That 2016 quarterback class. That is an all-time worst. Literally, outside of Dak, Dak is the only above-average starter to come out of that class. I mean, that's the Goff and Wentz 1 and 2. That's the Paxton Lynch where, Steven had to tackle Jerry from trying to trade up and get him. That's the Connor Cook who Steven had to tackle Jerry from trying to trade up and get. There's literally, I think they said there's only Goff, Wentz, and Dak that are still starting, or even still on an NFL roster out of that entire draft class that year.
Jeez.
That is an all-time worst. But again, goes to show, I mean, the Lions are about to be in that position potentially next April when they're looking for their franchise quarterback. So even if they bottom out, I mean, there's no guarantee you don't end up with just the next Jared Goff.
Boy, that's a beautiful Texas flag they have shining there over the racetrack.
This
I love how they
is-
have it positioned too. So you miss part of the race with a giant Texas flag that goes by.
I'm telling you,
flapping in the wind.
I have no concern about the new Miami and Las Vegas Grand Prix because the one over in Austin is special. It's an actual formula. It's a European style, actual real racetrack, and everything they've done to Texasize it and turn it into a big redneck party mixed with a little pinky out European flair. It's awesome.
Very Austin.
It's very Austin.
Very Austin.
It's very
in Texas,
international. Yeah.
But it's international. Yeah.
But it's Texas international.
Yeah, anyway,
it's not like Houston international.
Thought I'd draw attention to that. All right, what else? Waiting to hear on Jordan Lewis. He had a really nice interception there toward the end in winning time to prevent another would-be wannabe comeback by Detroit. And all they're saying now is that he has a right foot strain.
He put no weight on it.
That looked like Achilles or just shattered feet bone or something. He was bad. That's a bad foot injury, and that looks like that's at least a weeks-long deal. If it's Achilles, it's a year-long deal. And thank God they've got other guys that have stepped up. Donovan Wilson again, big sack. Boss man Fat. No murders this week, man. Don't be riding around in any cars that are murdering people because we may need Boss Man Fat. Need you, buddy. No more drive-bys. Just for at least till Jordan gets back.
At least don't wear the overly gaudy chain that is easily recognizable on security camera footage. Like, can we at least get that out of you?
Yeah, incognito,
please?
Man. Yeah, pretend like you care about the pandemic and wear a mask or something.
You know, Jordan Lewis is a guy that's turned out to be a damn good little system player for them. I know, but he has filled that. They have been able to coach within his physical limitations and match him so well with a role. I mean, he has basically been their lockdown nickel guy he's been it reminds me of what they used to do with Orlando Scandrick, where it would be, an undersized guy that they are maximizing the most out of it. Like, Scandrick was not lining up and guarding people on the outside. I mean, Scandrick was much more of a undersized nose for the ball safety that, good college corner, but never was going to be a pro corner on the outside.
He got rich and then quit playing.
Well, I mean, he still had good years.
He got popped from Molly down in Mexico.
Hey, it's happened to all of us. Look, you're unfamiliar with the local laws and restrictions. I mean, it's really just a plant-based. It shouldn't be illegal no matter what part of the planet you're in.
Except for he came back to Texas and got tested, knowing he was going to.
Well, okay, look, that might be a bit of momentary lack of discipline. We can agree on that.
Right. All right, Mr. T's up in here. Cowboys got the win, but they shouldn't be too high on themselves. Dan Campbell missed opportunities to challenge that could have changed the game, but he didn't. Also, #Goff gonna Goff. Boy, Goff turned into just a turnover machine. It was terrible. They got to move on from him. He's just a stopgap.
Yeah.
That's another reason why I keep giving Dan Campbell opportunities, because you ain't winning until you get competent quarterback play, period. It's just all there is to it. It's not his fault. That's the Lions' fault.
No, and I think that's why there's, the pretty broad, unanimous agreement that he's going to be there at least through another season, because I think for that very reason, they haven't given him. I mean, they've traded away their best quarterback of the last 20 years under his watch at the beginning of it, and they haven't upgraded that position since. So I think it's always unfair to see an NFL head coach not get the opportunity to coach up a guy or to upgrade that position and just be expected to maximize. I mean, because we are sitting here talking about a former number 1 overall pick at the most important position in the league. So it's not like it's not like they've just thrown him undrafted free agents or something. But I think we can all agree that Goff is not going to be there for the as soon as they can upgrade that position, which I would expect. They used the left tackle top pick last year, so I mean I would expect, or Hutchinson last year, and then the left tackle the year before in Penny Sewell. So I mean those are your 3 most important positions in the entire game: left tackle, rush end, and quarterback. So You've done 2 of the 3 in the last 3 years. It would only make logical sense to roll the dice, snag a franchise quarterback, or lead the one you think has the best chance to be, and then see what Dan can get out of that group.
All right, John on the north side. Thank God you guys took your hats off. Can we talk about how bad Dak was now? Did we look like we were at a John Wayne Gacy birthday party there for a minute?
Okay, not far off. I felt
We did.
I felt like I could start to smell the baseboards in here.
Oh, you took that way further than I was going to. I appreciate it, though.
You're welcome.
I just made it about child killers.
No,
and
when
you
I
made it
run
about rotting child
when
corpses.
I run
Nice
the 400
work. Nice
relay,
work.
I
You go
run the
for it.
anchor.
The whole thing.
I run the anchor.
Run through the tape.
You
Don't slow
hand
down.
me that
That's
last baton exchange, and I take it to the house.
No, Dak was just a guy out there today, and he got bailed out a lot. He got bailed out by his defense.
He got
bailed
bailed
out
out
by his own wide receiver.
He got bailed out by the Lions defense.
He got bailed out by
by
the Lions.
dropping interceptions when he threw into triple coverage multiple times. I mean, there's no yeah, it was his first game back with a lot of rust.
And it can't continue.
And no.
Not like that. No one's asking him to be Montana or Tom Brady, whose team loses again today. No one's asking him to be anything more than we always ask him to be what he is. Most of y'all don't think he's as good as what he is, but he's damn sure not elite. No one's ever called him that. And I don't know if it's part of the injury or rust or not. He can't throw across his body anymore. It's been quite a while since he rolled out and made a beautiful pass on the run, throwing against the grain. He sucks at it. Yep. He sucked against Tampa Bay doing it, and he was terrible today doing it.
It's getting to the point now where Kellen needs to just remove some of that from the playbook.
Some of that.
It just you can't run certain plays when you're not on the right hash mark. It's just you're going to have to take it out for now because you're not seeing that version of Dak or anything close to it. And which is also where not only does it, the physical limitations of him not being able to make that throw, but that's where the mental mistakes are heightened when he does try to force a throw like that and can't make that throw anymore. I specifically think of one of the instances where he threw into triple coverage doing that today.
Jake Hood, puro pinche Cowboys. Sam, let's duck some Dak. Let's stroke it today. We're not going to duck it. We're just going to give it a hand job. I can say that right on YouTube. Right?
Yeah, I think you're fine.
Okay, we're good. Okay, yeah, no sucking, no ducking, just hand jobbing. Or maybe just blow on it and just tease it a little bit.
Or maybe just soaking like the Mormons do.
Okay, what is that? Be careful. We're going to offend BYU.
I don't know. That's fine.
I promised I'd stop being so anti-Mormon.
It's not. How are you getting offended? I'm just reporting on what students on that campus are doing.
Yeah,
I don't know why you're offended or upset at me.
What is soaking again?
Well, as you know,
putting it in there, but not making it make babies.
Erect, wet, insertion, and then your friends just bounce the mattress. So
to completion?
No,
God, no.
I don't think you're getting that
That's
far.
not
Or
true.
if you can, it is how would I have the imagination to make that up? That is a documented.
No,
action.
you didn't make it up. You just got some bad information.
No, that is.
I'm going to need to see video evidence.
Okay, show research after we finish here.
All right, it's funny because my buddy Mo and his wife, she just got a job in Salt Lake City. The people that brought the Filipino food up here last year or earlier this year.
Are they
y'all
actually
remember?
moving?
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
She's already gone. She's taken the job, and Mo's going to hold it down here with the kids until they sell their house, and he's going to join her in Salt Lake City. The reason I bring that up is because you mentioned the Mormons, or I guess I did, whoever did first. We've already been invited to do this show at their house in Salt Lake City. That would be cool.
A lot of good ski resorts in the area.
And some
out
anti-Mormon bits.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go skiing. You can do that. I do
like
want
to
to
ski?
No, I don't ski. I'm half Mexican. We don't ski.
Okay, I have plenty of friends, that from all different ethnicities
I
that
have to prove it.
go on our
believe
ski
you.
trips.
I don't
but
believe you at all.
okay.
I want to see the landscape though and the scenery because it is beautiful. I do want to see some of the national parks up there. That would be badass.
Yeah, Utah is by far
Beautiful.
my most favorite state, just in terms of aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
Of just being in the state.
Yeah, they just don't soak it. They go all the way up there with their beauty.
Well, there's
Right?
parts of Utah where you can avoid the soaking crowd. Yeah. It's a big state.
Yeah. Yeah. What else? James, good game. Dak looked decent. Zeke showed flashes of his former self. Pollard was Pollard. But enough about the Cowboys. How about them Astros? Okay, we'll talk
I
Astros
thought Zeke
tomorrow
was
some.
done for the year for a second.
Dude,
there.
I thought he popped his knee out.
Showing
whack.
that replay they showed,
Yeah,
that looked
it
like a Willis
hyperextended.
McGahee type of
Hyperextension.
yeah, knee just blown.
He
so to
has
speak.
pissed me off a lot on occasion. He has lost a lot. He's only been in the league 7 years, but it might as well be 14. They got to find a way to get him off the team next year, or at least get his money under control, or else he needs to be gone. No one can question the toughness of that dude. He's a fucking bull, man.
I
God,
don't know,
he's a tough guy.
I don't know what else you want from him. If you remove,
No, he's fine.
If you remove the contract conversation and the absolute power play that, again, he didn't sign himself to,
Yeah.
the power play that he initiated, that the ownership capitulated to, based mainly more for anything for branding purposes and not football on the field results. If we put all of that to the side, I don't know what else you want or can expect from Zeke this year. I think he's doing everything he's being asked to do. He's doing all the things that Tony Pollard can't do when Pollard's on the field, and he's not speaking up a single bit about the more balanced, for the first time in his career, approach they're taking to the run game in terms of amount of carries and touches between him and Pollard. I mean, I think if you're looking at the teams that have the best success in the postseason, it's teams that are led by multiple backs that can do multiple things and can stay healthy throughout the course of a season. And I think that's shaping up really nicely. But like I said, it flashed all before our eyes and like you said, Zeke, you can't question his toughness. If Zeke's staying down for longer than 5-10 seconds, I really worried that was something much worse than it was.
Yeah,
but,
I'm out there crying.
Yeah.
Needing a stretcher.
Yeah.
That dude's staying in the game. All right, Zeke today scored 2 one-yard rushing touchdowns. That is his first multi-touchdown game since last year against Washington on December 26, when he had 1 rushing and 1 receiving. He's just not going to have the dominating numbers anymore.
That's the game they got blown out by Washington.
Yeah, they
last
got
year.
thumped. But he's really good at what they ask him to do. It's just he costs so much money against their cap, and they'll probably find a way to get out from underneath that this year. Shout out to Bubba's burner account. The ghost of the Komodo dragon that you murdered at the at the San Antonio Zoo. They were in Fort Worth this week and went to the Cowboy game. Bubba's burner account. He gave us some pictures from the game. Not bad view either. Good seats.
The crowd sounded pretty good.
Mm-hmm. I didn't get a come on now Spurs though. Where's that at, Bubba?
A bad noon matchup.
Yeah.
I always worry about the malaise of Jerry's greed causing a late arriving noon crowd, because Arlington is the biggest city in the United States that doesn't have public transportation, purely because it's tied into the charter agreement with the city when they funded that stadium.
Okay, right on. Let's talk about JM Pool and Spa. Hill Country Zone, Northern San Antonio Zone, Hill Country Spa Zone. Oh, look at that. Oh, you got a spa or a pool in the Hill Country somewhere? That's where they service. It is JM Pool and Spa, the official pool and spa people of this show. And they'll come out to your place and keep it up for you. It's fun to have a pool and a spa and such, but it's a pain in the ass to keep it up, and they'll do it for you. It's JM Pool and Spa. Doom 32X. Puma will like this one because he's been talking this guy up. I think I saw Sam Williams kill a man today.
Yeah.
He may need to go find somewhere else to stay for a while and lay low. Yeah, for sure. Can you not get a penalty for body slamming a ball player?
That 95% of the time that's called. I have no idea how that went uncalled.
It was blatant.
I'll say this, though, let's see. I had at one point, because I have been on the Sam Williams game has just been a matter of time coming. I mean, it's since they, were able to snag him in the second round, I thought we would see, honestly, I thought we would see him more, because I didn't expect as much out of Dorrance Armstrong
right,
as we've seen so far this year. I think that is a pleasant surprise, pleasant development. But I think that is what, and even Dante Fowler had, a couple plays in the first half of this game after a couple bonehead mistakes last week. But yeah, no, I mean, I had the Sam Williams sighting in the first quarter, and then that second quarter suplex body slam, and then of course the
was a suplex.
There in the fourth quarter with the big sack strip where he just ripped it out of the guy's hand, and then ended up running for another 10 yards before he fumbled and Tank recovered. I think that guy is another reason they were so confident in letting Gregory walk and playing hardball with him, because I think they thought when they got Sam Williams where they did that he was going to end up supplanting Dorrance Armstrong by, the midpoint of the season, if not going into the playoffs. And testament to that whole, league leading in sacks defensive line, defense as a whole. I mean, include Donovan Wilson in that group. I mean, a guy that made another play in the backfield today on a safety blitz where if he doesn't make that sack, there's a guy streaking wide open for a touchdown if Goff can make the throw. And again, credit Wilson for filling that role of a, in the box safety, that he is showing that he can, absolutely be somebody that is a difference maker to add to the growing list. Like we saw Sam Williams show he is capable of doing today for the first time in his early career.
All right, we talk every week about the league and how close it is. And just look at it. It's insane. Tampa Bay beat the hell out of the Cowboys. If the Cowboys played Tampa today, the Cowboys would whip their asses. That's only been 6 weeks ago they played them. Tampa Bay loses again today against the Panthers, who are trying to trade all their good players and just fired their coach, and they dominate Tampa Bay today 21-3. The Titans hang on to beat the Colts 19-10. Two spare teams in the middle. These are those teams that I told you the difference between the 5th best team and the 28th best team is really nothing. The Bengals have gotten hot since the Cowboys beat them. They blow Atlanta out today 35-17.
And Burrows looked like the old Burrows.
He did, boy. And the Packers, they're not any good either. The Cowboys may run the table in the NFC North. Minnesota will be the hardest game they've got the way things are going. Aaron Rodgers is just about mentally done. He doesn't want to be there anymore. The Commanders, of all people, they rally around their beloved Dan Snyder, who's been under fire from woke media and the liberal left and the cancel culture here we have in our society. And the Commanders rally around their El Jefe today and beat those ugly Packers 23-21.
But did they pay the 50-50 raffle winner? That's the real question.
Well, they're waiting on the check to clear, sir.
Did the fans in attendance have shit water dump out from above from a pipe?
Setting up Venmo. Okay. See if they can pay somebody off to get that done. And the damn Giants win again. Jacksonville was on the move, trying to rally late at the end of the game, but New York outscores Jacksonville 10-0 in the fourth quarter because the Giants actually have a real coach now. And the Giants beat Jacksonville 23-17. The damn Giants are 5-1. The frickin' Eagles are 6-0. Are the Eagles off this week? They must be.
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure.
So,
yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So the Eagles are off, so they'll stay 6-0. They'll be 6-0. As the Cowboys go to 5-2. I misspoke. The Giants will go to 6-1.
Yep.
So you've got 6-0 Philly, 6-1 New York, and a 5-2 Cowboys that'll get you third place in the division. It's that mighty juggernaut that the NFC East was for 30 years in the NFL that went to shit for the last 5-6 years, and now they're great.
This is the thing,
or
though.
Are they? Because the NFL just sucks.
No, I think there's. I think the argument is absolutely. On the right side, if you say the NFC East is the class of the NFC right now, there's no question, just looking at results. But I also think I still confidently feel like Dallas is the best team in this division as they sit in third place with losses to the Eagles with their backup quarterback, and a win over the one loss the Giants have is a win the Cowboys have over them with their backup quarterback. I still think when we look at, how this division lines up here in, 6 weeks as we go down the home stretch of the schedule, I think the Cowboys are absolutely going to be in the driver's seat with their franchise quarterback being back and being in rhythm when they have, those matchups on the back half of the schedule again with New York and Philly. I mean, looking at Philly's undefeated record, that doesn't leave me with a sense of they have separated themselves from everybody else in the NFC, and certainly not with the Giants when I saw the Cowboys beat them with Cooper Rush. And I don't have the faith that Daniel Jones is going to figure it out and unlock the Cowboys defense to beat them the second time they match up, or potentially in a playoff matchup. And I would love to see DQ and the defense make adjustments and go up against that Philly offense again. And again, have the Dallas offense go up against that vastly improved Philly defense. But again, a Philly defense that, had Cooper Rush to key off of and game plan for a week. I think it's a very, very different team with Dak back, especially 6-8 weeks from now as we look at this thing going into the postseason.
All right, R&R Auto Glass is the official auto glass repair company of this show. You can go hit up Janet and the fellas over at 104 West Tacoma. I never give the address. I always say it's at 281 in Tacoma. And what you do is you exit Tacoma. Let's say you're going northbound on 281. You exit, take a left, past the porn shop. That porn shop still there? I think it is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, about a quarter mile on the left-hand side is R&R.
That's where every chess player gets his needs.
Yeah, got to make sure they got the kind that vibrate in different levels like a box fan, so he knows what move to make. Just past that place where they sell the anal beads, and on the left-hand side is R&R Auto Glass. They take all insurances. They're super fast, super efficient, super brutal San Antonio, so you're putting money back in the local economy, and they'll give you a hookup when you mention me. They will give you the Taylor Especial at R&R Auto Glass at 281 and Tacoma. You said that you don't think the Eagles are better than the Cowboys. Well, how often in the NFL does the team with the most talent sometimes not actually win its division because the NFL's goofy in scheduling and injuries? A lot.
Oh, sure.
And let's do something.
I
Go
think
ahead.
you could argue.
I want to play a game with
I think you could argue right now Philly is the more talented team than Dallas. But I would still say I'm going to trust Dak more than Jalen Hurts, and I'm going to trust the Cowboys' consistency at getting pressure and making adjustments on the defensive side of the ball more than I trust Jalen Hurts to run an offense against that.
So the Eagles are 6-0. You ready?
Let's do it.
They're off this week. So coming off a bye week, they're back home against the Steelers.
Win.
7-0. Then they go down to Houston to play the Texans on the road.
Should be 8-0.
8-0. Then they're back home for the Commanders.
Should be 9.
Should be 9. Then they go to Indianapolis and play the Colts.
We could do this with every NFL team.
I know. I mean, the Eagles may not be better than the Cowboys, but I don't see it right now. It's a long shot that Dallas wins the division.
So let me ask you this, though. If the Eagles go out and win they win the Texans game, Commanders game. What was the first one you said? It was even easier than the rest of them.
So I'll tell you the whole schedule. They only play 2 teams that would even go to the playoffs right now the rest of the year. That's Dallas and New York, the Giants. They play the Steelers, the Texans, the Commanders, the Colts, Packers, Titans, Giants, Bears, Cowboys, Saints, Giants. They may go 16-1.
See, and that's where I go back to what's if the Eagles win against Steelers, Texans, and Commanders, and the Cowboys end up winning against Bears, Packers, and Vikings over the same next 3-week stretch, which one of those teams do you feel better about those wins? I would still say I feel better about what the Cowboys are doing as they're getting their franchise quarterback back and beating NFC North opponents on the road, and beating a much improved Minnesota Vikings team. I mean, I would still say that's a better stretch for the Cowboys if they go undefeated over that same time. That's why I think we can say, yeah, the Eagles are going to continue to win more games, but looking at, the Cowboys, the loss to the Bucs on opening night is looking worse and worse as they continue to struggle, but they've also, had massive injury issues and don't have an offensive line that could block an SEC defensive line right now. It's I mean, you can look at the reason why they're falling on their face. And then you can look at the loss that the Cowboys have to the Eagles with their backup quarterback and say, this Cowboys team absolutely is right there, lock at step with them. And I'm confident in the second time they match up. I mean, I think I don't know what the Eagles can do to separate themselves unless they go out there and just, absolute manhandle Steelers, Texans, Commanders, 49-7 wins 3 straight weeks. Then I'd say, okay, they're the class of the NFC. But I mean, if you're just winning more typical, NFL regular season football game, 27-14, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think it's more about what the Cowboys do to knock the rust off than what the Eagles do as far as continuing to win.
That's fine and dandy, but as the Eagles don't ever lose any more games, I could see the Eagles going 15-2, getting home field advantage and getting their ass kicked in the first round of the playoffs.
And that's what I'm saying.
Crazy.
That's the feeling I have, because again, that's the NFL, and the team that whips their ass is probably a 9-7 Rams team or a 9-7 Cardinals team or someone that comes out of nowhere. Or if the Packers turn it around and that's Aaron Rodgers at 9-7 going into Philadelphia with a 15-2 record, I would still feel pretty damn good about Aaron Rodgers' chances of pulling off that upset, because I don't trust this Eagles team to be an all-time great that is going to separate itself from everybody else.
All right, so Overreact. We are from the Pickleball Giant Studios today. Cowboys, they beat Detroit in a pretty ho-hum noon game, which was fine. That's all. Who cares? They get out of there 24-6. As far as I know, injury-wise, only major ones were probably Jordan Lewis. We're waiting to see how bad that is. And talking about toughness, Dalton Schultz, that poor guy, he can't go a week without getting that knee dinged, and he got bent weird today. He's already got a sprained PCL, partially torn. Then he gets the damn thing gets bent the wrong direction today. Same knee. The guy just keeps on playing. He's out there hobbling around, still catching passes.
Looked nastier than apparently
I thought he blew it out.
was.
I thought he blew it all the way out.
I mean,
there he goes. That's it.
But, I mean, you hate to look at these guys as nothing more than assets that wear a certain laundry that you support. But in the long run, you saw last week, Barry Alvarez's grandson, who they keep reminding us is Barry Alvarez's grandson, Jake Ferguson, with a nifty touchdown catch. And then today you saw Hendershot. With a touchdown catch as well. And you saw, even going back to the very first play of the game, they were out there in a 2 tight end set running a boot. Like, that offense is dependent on having next guy up, specifically at that tight end position. And they seem to really love the room they have. Hell, they even called up McKeon from the practice squad today because they wanted to have depth at that position.
All right, show's also brought to you by Texas Cheer Liquor. What's up, Holmes? We got Texas Cheer Liquor in the house, as always. They are also the title sponsor of our Wednesday night show, Mike Taylor Live, which we'll have another one on Wednesday night. It is Texas Cheer Liquor. I think we can all speak for ourselves together when we say that we often drink booze bought right out of one of the 9 locations right there in San Antonio in the Hill Country. They just put one up in Bernie. And it's Texas Cheer Liquor, the official liquor company of not only Mike Taylor Live, but Cowboys React too. All right, so that's it. I don't want to sit here and beat the dead horse. They did what they have to do. Dak was fine. He ran the plays. He looked bad at times. He was inaccurate at times. But maybe that's part of the reason why they brought him back this week. If they were struggling and he was chomping at the bit to play in the Eagles game, maybe they'd have played him last week. But this was a good week to bring him back, to start this stretch where we've got Detroit and Chicago at home, so he can afford to be rusty or whatever the kinks are he's trying to get out. Oh, look, there's billionaire Tim Cook. That's the people you want to associate with. I'm just giving you shit. I like Tim Cook. He's fine.
Didn't he
anyway, Cowboys win, and they'll win next week over Chicago, and Dak hopefully get all the cobwebs out.
Tim Cook just stole the hashtag of the Utah Jazz for another Utah reference for you in this Cowboys React episode. Yeah, so Utah's been using the hashtag take note, like a jazz note, because, again, the Utah Jazz are in Utah and want you to take note of our jazz heritage of Utah.
Sure, yeah. So that's the worst nickname in sports.
It's awful. It should have changed a long time ago. The But don't make the New Orleans go back to the Jazz. Just keep the Pelicans because that's the best one in all of sports.
The effing Pelicans.
No,
man.
the Jazz have been using hashtag take note, and apparently Tim Cook, who is, the Jazz have a new minority owner that is tech buddy with him. And apparently Tim Cook just straight ripped it out from under him and trademarked it and used it in an Apple presentation this last week. And the owner of the Jazz was like, yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on there, but apparently we didn't have the right ownership. And Apple's going to use that now, basically. Yeah, my buddy did me dirty and stole our hashtag.
Dak says his thumb didn't bother him today and feels like some of his overthrows early in the game were due to him being overconfident.
Overhyped, yeah.
No, overconfident even.
Okay.
Sure. Called Zeke relentless, and he's so that's fine. I don't want Dak to lose confidence. Let him be cocky. I want him to get that groove back that he had most of last season. And we'll end it with our boy Micah Parsons tweeting out just a minute ago. Fuck all you haters. No, I'm just kidding. That's not what he wrote. No, he wrote, Micah just tweeted out, can't teach effort or passion, ! 1-0. So he's restarted.
It's a season restart.
He's restarted the season after last week. Now we're 1-0. I'm going to start doing that after all of our bad shows. You know what? Now next week we're starting over. Season starts over.
Show number 1 with
Starts
me
next
at the
week.
helm. Yeah.
All right, that's it. We're done. Thanks, everybody. If you want information, man, about partnering up with us and getting some love on our show, we do our companies right. From live spot, extended feature packages or whatever, hit us up and I'll put you in contact with our business partner, DJ LG, who's still alive. He's just very behind the scenes. How'd I do today, Lawrence? I got lectured again about making sure I stared at the camera enough and not over at you. I did good.
A little better.
A little better. We're working on it. We're working
did good. Not great, but good.
Okay. All right. Well, on Wednesday, we'll start the season over, and I'll be 1-0 with that. Yeah. Oh, Roberto.
1-0 Dallas Cowboys.
Roberto, don't you first have to have a bad show? Oh, thank you, Roberto. There's an ender. All right, thanks everybody. We'll do this on the radio tomorrow. Birds up. We'll talk about the runners some on the radio show tomorrow.
Oh yeah, I'll have my random wild ass observations in the cave too.
Cool. 24/6. Puma's random observations in the cave. Talk college football, a little bit of Astros. So thank you to DJ LG too and Puma and everybody that was a part of this one. We'll see you boys next Sunday on this show after the Bears game. Another noon start. Love y'all hard.
Overreact is brought to you by Pickleball Giants.